Today we're gonna celebrate 50 years of hip hop and 50 years of Bode. So today we have a super special episode of No Hype, and I'm really excited to talk about this. Not only are we gonna be talking about an artist that is a legend in his own right, but we're gonna talk about a character that helped shape and mold what we know as hip hop, street art, and graffiti. And if you haven't guessed by now, we're gonna be talking about Vaughan Bode and Mark Bode, which is such an incredible story in its own. I could probably do a whole documentary on it. And well, there's probably a documentary being worked on as we speak, and it's not by me. So the folks at Hip Hop Toys and Definitive Projects teamed up with the legendary Mark Bode, son of Vaughan Bode, the classic artist who not only was like so inspiring. I watched a couple interviews on him, and if we think that like we are ahead of the game as far as artists who wanted to own their own intellectual property and people who bet on themselves, we're talking about a man, an artist, Vaughan Bode, who created a character in 1957 that went on and really found its way into hip-hop before hip-hop existed, and it is incredibly dope. And that character is Cheech Wizard. Now, if you don't know who Cheech Wizard is, I'm sure you've seen him, I'm sure you've seen Cheech Wizard probably more than a handful of times in your lifetime, especially if you're a fan of hip-hop, if you're a fan of art. Even if you're not a fan of hip-hop and a fan of art, I mean, Cheech Wizard and the Bode Lizard and the Bode Broads have been synonymous throughout all types of places. Like, we're talking from Heavy Metal magazine, Penthouse magazine, and most important, as far as this channel is concerned, the hip hop culture itself. And we're talking, all right, let me put it into perspective. And I don't want to get too crazy into this because we're going to talk about this tour review, but I really want you to know how deep this goes. You see, there's a lot of like synergy going on here between all of this, between the times when he passed, how inspiring he was in graffiti and in hip hop culture. And really, like, the story of hip hop can't be told without talking about Vaughan Bode and Cheech Wizard. Because Vaughan Bode never wanted to sell his copyright and sell his characters, he was always able to be independent and own 100% of his intellectual property. And then when he passed, his son carried the torch and let the legacy live further by continuing these characters and getting them involved in so many different projects, animation, still like also in other comic strips and comic books, in the art world. And now they've teamed up with Hip Hop Toys and Definitive Projects to release this officially licensed NYC MTA Subway car with, check this out, not only do they have Cheech Wizard and the Bode Broads on here, right? They also have a Bode piece on the Subway card with a dope homage to the legendary artist Dondi. And if you're into graffiti, you know Dondi's one of the OGs who really helped shape the culture as well, and the street art culture and the graffiti culture. Because one thing that I feel like is definitely not spoken about a lot when we're talking about hip hop culture and everybody giving these artists their flowers and on great shows like Drink Champs, where are the B-boys? Where's the graffiti? We all love this hip hop shit, but we're only telling a part of the story. We're not telling the whole story. So when they dropped this, when Hip Hop Toys sent me this in my DM, I'm like, this is dope. Because partially, when I got into hip hop, I was into b-boying and graffiti before I started actually rapping or taking myself seriously as a rapper. And I was like, I really got to cop this thing. Because when I was doing graffiti and I was b-boying, I remember seeing Cheech Wizard as a kid, like seeing it all over the place. And when I would buy graffiti magazines or graffiti books or see anything, I mean, like, you couldn't not even see Cheech Wizard into the 90s when I was into this stuff, and when I was a kid, I remember seeing Cheech Wizard in various places and thinking, this is so cool. Look at this wizard hat with legs. They announced this. I was like, I gotta cop this. And I know I'm going a bit ham on the history of it, but this is like super important because it's not spoken about a lot. You got the one side that says Bode with the Dondi character on it, and it's in a a Dandy style graffiti, right? And then you have the Cheech Wizard side, which has Cheech Wizard and has the Bode Broads on it. On the bottom, it has the Hip Hop Toys and Definitive Projects logo. This thing also has a light here. Where's the switch on this? Is there a switch on this anywhere? A button? Oh, here goes nothing. It's also like has like a spring, you know, loaded thing to where you can pull it back and probably, or maybe not. I think I just broke something. I know this thing lights up, right? Where the light is, that I don't know. Well, it looks like while I was trying to put this thing away, I accidentally turned it on. So I don't know what I did, but let's just see. Probably has something to do with the wheels. But figured it out. There was only 100 of these made, and I have one of the 100 right here. It also came with a certificate of authenticity, and it was signed by the one and only legendary Mark Bode. Now, this is also a 1/100 scale, so this means this is 100 times smaller than an original Subway car. I think that's what it means. I'm not quite sure on that. I should know, right, considering all the toys I have. And it's die cast, and this is like the Artifacts one that I copped. Rest in peace to Tame One. So this is gonna sit really nicely next to it. It's also gonna sit next to my Run DM Cheech figures that I copped, and we'll do a video on those next after this one. So make sure to check out part 2 of my Cheech Wizard series, celebrating 50 years of Bode and 50 years of hip hop. Now the pre-order for this closes on March 1st, so make sure you hurry up and go to hiphoptoys.com. That's toys with a Z. And get yours, because I think there's only a few left on there, and maybe by the time this video comes out there may be none, but it's definitely worth copying because, man, this is a piece of hip-hop history right here. Now these things retail for about $150, so it's not that bad, and you're not really killing the bank, and you really get an authentic piece of New York City legendary hip-hop art, hip-hop toys, all of that. You get that, and I'm not really trying to sell it to you. I'm just letting you know why I think it's dope. This thing has a lot of memories for me coming up, growing up as a kid, loving hip hop and every aspect of all the elements. And speaking about the graffiti element, shout out to the legendary graph artist Totem who hooked me up with this funky fresh tee. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. If I missed anything, if you have anything to add to the conversation or simply want to be like, yo, this thing is super funky fresh, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Peace.